Good evening. Um, the Toronto Raptors lose to the Milwaukee Bucks 128, 112. Oh, wow. What a weird game. Where to even begin with this one? They do a fake comeback that kind of was exciting. It just they mentioned on the broadcast, and it's something that was just so obvious. Um, they just missed every and one opportunity. It was just crazy. Like every single, like how many times did the ball hit the rim or the backboard? And like the refs were pretty bad in the first half. It was pretty unbalanced, but I think in the second half the Raptors got a bunch of calls like evened out, and they just it yeah, and then like it continued kind of during the comeback. Um, Obviously, they were finishing better during the comeback, but there was still this is sponsored by Montreal. What am I gonna add from? What's going on in Montreal? Where's everybody from? Put that in the chat. I'll read those in a sec. I'm still trying to process this game, but the ads will be over soon. I think in like 4 seconds. This show is not sponsored by Papa John's. Papa John is a bad boy. He did bad things, so not associated. But yeah, this kind of felt like it might be like one of those games where we've seen them do this big comeback, but this one just like didn't really it just didn't have enough punch, I guess, and it's a better opponent. But yeah, the story of the game for me was just it was hard to even get like the first like 3 quarters. We'll get into the individual players, but the first like or 2.5 quarters were just so deflating. It was hard to even kind of get up for the comeback, and it didn't feel like it was going to be really a thing. They were just missing so many opportunities. I'll look at the box score later, but I'm pretty afraid to look at it. I definitely glanced at some of the plus minuses and some of the missed shots. And on the other hand, Milwaukee, um, Damon, Malik Beasley just hitting everything. You really do kind of, I guess, the main kind of plot line, I guess, in this is how much you miss an OG Anunoby, who is obviously a really good perimeter defender, and it's just like they had so many shots, so many of Dame and Beasley shots were just like getting screens and just getting wide open looks, and I think that comes down to the Raptors like not navigating those well enough, and someone like OG when he's out there is really good at that, and you really missed him, and then you really obviously missed his shooting. I think the Raptors, I don't know how many threes they hit tonight, but it felt like under five. um, Really awful. Like other than the comeback there, it was just a really boring, hard game to watch. Specifically, so Jakob was like a big part of the comeback. Actually, so one of the only like bright spots for me was there was so many plays where Jakob and Scotty had like incredible chemistry, like so many just bang bang passes down low and then they kick it out. But so many of those shots were missed afterwards. Like they weren't cashing in on that. But that was like one of the first times I've really seen those two have really kind of electrifying chemistry. Well, that's a bit fancy, but and but it didn't lead to enough for like when you're doing a comeback like that, you can't just miss so many of those around the rim kind of easy opportunity shots. I don't think Pascal played in the fourth quarter or like much in the third even. I think he only took like eight. I feel like he only took like 8 or 9 shots or something. Like he just didn't seem like he was being super aggressive. Um, and when you look at the two teams that he's kind of killed this year, it's the Wizards and the Mavs, who didn't have their center. And so yeah, it's like you kind of continue to see him struggle against these better defenses, which again, don't know what his situation is on the team, but um, not a good game for his stock, I guess you could say. He does, and there's no Giannis tonight either, so they're playing Adrian Griffin has come around to like Brook Lopez playing drop, so they look a little bit more normal than they were in the first like few games. So they were like they were sagging off. He was sagging off Jakob quite a bit. Jakob, I don't think has like taken. I feel like I can't remember a 17 Jakob hurdle footer. Like he's not ever taking those shots. And we've seen his free throw, so it's probably for the better. But yeah, just a really boring. I guess boring is the wrong word, but just a really like kind of flattering game to watch. Just so many missed shots, so from everywhere. Like the Raptors, there wasn't anywhere on the floor that I thought the Raptors were like doing good in. They weren't hitting threes. Nobody was. Scotty had some mid-range stuff. Scotty played. I mean, that's kind of the other plot line. Is Scotty played really well. I think he ended up with like 30, almost like a triple double. Looked like he got injured at one point, but I would say a weird subplot. He seems to have like really bad injuries like once a game. So there might be some. Um, I used to do that when I was younger and I played sports. So you just kind of, I don't know. It's part of the emotion of the game. But when he gets injured, he seems to really kind of look like he's like, his like career is over and then he's like good to go. But I think it's just like caught up in the emotion of the game. But it is kind of funny. I feel like every game this season, there's been like a moment where it's like, is he ever going to play basketball again? He just looks like he's dying. But no, he played really well. He was really the only like, I guess more in the second half, kind of consistent offense that was working for them. Dennis played really poorly. I guess this is 2 games in a row now. He went on the Raptor show and said he isn't worried about stats. So that's. I made a note that like I worry for Dennis because I like Dennis, but like I always I've known like what his I guess ceiling is, and I know a lot of Raptor fans in the subreddit that I kind of used to go in quite a bit. They were just like over the moon with Dennis Schroeder over the first 2 games, and I was like, this has a potential. I think some of the fans who kind of got up really high, there's going to be an overcorrection, and whenever that happens, then it just becomes really dumb posts, and like so I'm predicting a lot of that's going to start happening if this continues, because he was really just like ineffective. I feel like not making the right moves at the right time, and like Malachi being kind of the best point guard. I mean, I thought Malachi missed some wide open shots, which was tough. He had a sequence where I liked his confidence taking a second 3. There was a couple of times where during the comeback, there was one in particular where Scotty missed it too, and then he chased his own rebound and brought it to the 3-point line. There's only I think like 6, or I guess maybe it refreshed what I'm talking about, but he was open for that, and I feel like with just the way things were going, because he ended up passing it I think to Malachi who missed or something. So I thought that like. Because the Scotty's 3 was working. Like that was kind of one of the only things that was working. So down the stretch, especially with no OG and no Gary, as a viewer of the comeback, I wanted more Scotty 3s, which for whatever reason just didn't happen as much as maybe you would hope. Because this 3 looked really good tonight. He's kind of, I think they said on the broadcast, he was kind of like 2 for his last 15 or something. And I had noticed in the last couple of games, his mechanics, I had mentioned it before, he was shooting more like kind of line drive-ish shots, whereas today he kind of got more of that arc back. So it just like that makes a big difference. And so, yeah, Pascal, let's just blink at the, what's the chat saying? Also, question for the chat. Like, I want to get some answers on this. This is what I think about. Is a slant back, so is a dunk ever look better slow-mo? Because on a lot of the like dunks, like Jaden McDaniels had a really nice dunk, but they did it like slow motion, and I always think it looks worse. Get ad block, man. I have ad block, but I'm stupid with the with OBS. I don't really know how OBS works, so it's like it's on a different server, so it's not really under my control, but I should figure it out because I know it's very traumatizing to see. Siakam did not play in the 4th. He was off tonight, but they did not go in the paint, and Pascal can't shoot from deep. Scotty's ball handling and pick and roll seemed crisp. Pale Fox, Malachi 8 threes taken, none hit. Really? Oh my God. Did Malachi go 0 for 8? I didn't know it was that. I need to double confirm that. Malachi 0 for 8 from, wow. Okay. That's not good. I didn't know it was that bad. Malachi 0 for 8. Yikes. Good catch. Whoever that was. Was Siakam limping after the game? I actually turned it off for like with a minute left just so I could get this thing set up. So um, I don't know. But Zach Cote, I'm in Montreal. The absence of OG's defense was felt. How did we get cooked by Malik? Yeah. I mean, Malik's a good shooter on and off the court, but I feel like he was just open. Um, so many of his threes were just like the Raptors just not getting through their screens hard enough or not rotating fast enough, and just like, yeah, he's one of those like, I don't know if J.R. Smith is a good comp. It's kind of a hacky comp, but like he can get really hot like that, and then the next game he'll miss like 4 or 5, and then he just, yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say more like 11, but I said 4 or 5. Scotty making some insane formalist shots. Yeah, Scotty's yoga has um increased. Is like what do you call it? I think his flexibility and like, oh shit, um dexterity has improved. Like it looks like he's done a lot of kind of like balance functional movement workouts because he's finishing off of like weird angles and through contact really well. And that's something that like even stronger players like Precious or Pascal like aren't really that good at. So it takes a lot more than just being strong. Like he has that well, he has he has touch obviously, but yeah, he's making a lot of shots where like it's unorthodox, and it's stuff that you have to practice to get good at, and it's obvious watching him that he's doing those like weird finishes. And I think they mentioned on the broadcast just getting tackled by like with like football gear and stuff just to finish through the contact. But man, Raps lost again. Depends on the dunk. Okay, yeah, okay, but interesting. But like, what dunk looks better in slow motion? I think about this stuff as like an editor, because whenever I see like a dunk in slow motion, I'm always like, it looks better full speed, because like part of what makes a dunk like a great highlight is how fast it happens, in my opinion. Like, I guess if there's some crazy, like maybe like a Clyde Drexler dunk where he's hanging and it's like a weird angle, but I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about that. Why is Jalen getting any time on this team? I think he was like plus 15. I actually thought he was good. Jalen McDaniels plus 19. He was like by far the Raptors' best plus minus by like 12 point. Like starters were minus 21, minus 24, minus 17, minus 29, minus 31, and Jalen was plus 19. So I guess that's why he was playing. Payman Mogi Hami. Gun control. Auto minutes make me happy. We need to leave the United Nations. Okay, expand on that. That's interesting. I'm not saying I disagree with it, but like, what's your sauce on that? I wonder if Devin Smith. I wonder if the analytic shooting system in practice court is broken. Somebody get an IT guy and calibrate it. Yeah, it's funny because like Dylan Brooks talked about how that saved his shot, and for the Raptors, part of having the 30th ranked half court offense is bad shooting. Like that's, it's funny because like Grady's obviously a rookie, but like maybe that's breaking his shot too. Because what did Grady shoot? Like Malachi was 0 for 8. Grady was 1 for 6. So Malachi and Grady combined for 1 for 14. So it's your young backcourt, So that's difficult. Again, you really miss like, what are the Raptors? 9 for 33 from 3. And Scotty 3 for 3. So it's like, there was a couple times in the fourth quarter where I'm like, you're 3 for 3. The team is 9 for 33. I'm not good at math, but um, yeah, you know what I mean. Like it probably would have been good for more threes, but what did he shoot tonight? So Scotty, 11 for 19. So pretty efficient. Like not amazing, but pretty efficient. Siakam only took 9 shots in 29 minutes. I didn't really notice Siakam that much, to be honest. I mean, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block, 4 turnovers. I thought Jakob was really good in the comeback, but then like Jakob had a really weird game. Like I thought he was like noticeably bad in the first half. I wrote down Adrian Griffin hasn't blinked in 7 years. All right, I guess we'll go through the game a little bit. So 10 seconds into the game, this was funny. Sean Corbin, the ref, calls a travel on Siakam. It actually looked like it was a travel. I rewound it and watched it back, but I don't know. It's just a funny thing to call like on like the first play of the game. But I mean, I guess whatever. But then Jack had some story about how he almost like tried to fight that ref. I think that's what if I ever had Jack on a podcast, I would ask him that, along with like, why do you like crooning? Like, what do you get out of crooning? And is there any other music that you like? Have you ever tried to like transition that into like Joy Division or something, like, you know, that same vocal frequency but just done differently? Malachi missed 8 threes, but like he looks like he's in killer mode more, you know. Like I wrote down there's a lot of serial killers from Seattle, and Malachi is from Seattle, and he kind of has that look in his eye a lot, like from the free throw line. He used to always look like a deer in the headlights. Now he's at least looking confident. But anything that I wrote down nice about Malachi, all I can think of now is the person that just brought up that he was 0 for 8 from 3. So yeah, it's tough. And the Raptors, like, just out of the, I mean, the Bucks went on a 17-0 run in the first quarter. Like the Raptors are just, it's so weird. It's like every game they come out in the first 2 minutes and put up like 8, 10, 12 points or something. It's like, oh, this looks good. And then the last like 8, 9 minutes of the quarter, and then the second quarter, they just like don't do anything. I would be willing to bet they're the worst, just based on, I'm just thinking about this right now. They must have the worst second quarter point differential. Somebody look that up for me. One of my employees look that up for me. One of the several Raptor Moments staff that I employ, look that up. And the Bucks were just getting really easy buckets, like pretty much from 3 at the rim. And then the Raptors, to fend off a 17-0 run, they put in Dennis, Malachi, Jakob, and Boucher, I think, with Siakam. So they had 2 point guards and 2 centers. So at this point, you're not trying Garrett Temple or Thad, which still continues to be weird to me that they don't even, it's like, but okay, anyways. So it's like, okay, we'll try 2 point guards and 2 centers. Like, I mean, at this point, it just looks so dead. And I mean, I think that helped a little bit, but even Thanasis had a nasty dunk or a nasty finish. And the only really good thing from Boucher had a pretty crazy fumble behind the back. He tried to do like in transition. This is kind of like a criticism of Boucher that I've always kind of had in transition. He's gotten better this year, but he did the thing where he like went through the legs behind the back, like the Kevin Durant thing. I remember that story about how he read like Dennis Rodman's book and then realized that like, hey, I don't have to be like a crazy ball handler. Like I can do that role. And you see him slip back into that once in a while. And that one in transition with like 3 minutes left in the second quarter was just like, whoa. But Scotty checks in and good things happen. He hits some threes. They get some shots at the rim that actually go in. But again, like the story of this game is just and ones, especially in the second half. Just the and ones, man. Like, also want to give a shout out to Laura Dykin, I think, if I'm saying that correctly, on TSN, filled in for Kate. I just think she's a lot more like authentic. She's like self-deprecating. Kate does that like 90s broadcaster voice thing that they do in Bally Sports, and it just like, it doesn't my brain doesn't register it. It feels like an AI. So I thought she did really good. She was kind of like making fun of herself and just was vibing with the overall thing. So I was trying to think of an analogy, like a backup analogy in sports. So what's a good backup analogy where like the backup is better than the first string? That's kind of what it felt like. Jack was talking about the mid or the in season tournament, potentially doing the lottery. I hadn't heard of that before, but it was like that's. I was just assuming that Jack would have hated the in season tournament, but I don't know if they can. I don't know. Like, are they allowed to? I guess Van Gundy always used to do it, but we heard the news that Mark Jackson got like banned from MSG, which is really funny. I mean, he's on a long list of people, but he's like generational weirdo. So I'm sure there's it's like the first one where it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like Charles Oakley doesn't make sense. The Spike Lee thing didn't make sense. The Raptors lawsuit didn't make sense. I don't know what happened with Phil Jackson, but something happened there. But this one was kind of like, yeah, I could see that. And then in the oh yeah, so I don't know if people heard this through their TV, but I was like, this could be a Raptor Moments episode. Otto Porter like broke Pat Connaughton. Like it was like the loudest sound I've ever heard in a basketball game. Like they just collided going for an offensive rebound, and it just was like it was so loud. Like I'm looking forward to getting the game and seeing the audio wave on that. Like I think the transient is just gonna be like a fucking like it's gonna it could be used for like a beat, you know. Which by the way, I'm gonna be releasing an album with a track for every Raptors guy on the roster, and like some guys will have multiple. Like David Johnson, there'll be like 4 parts probably. Jeff Doughton, there'll be 2 parts. Scotty at least 2 parts. So look forward to that. I'll put it on like SoundCloud and Spotify. And you could hear I could lip read Darko and Dennis talking, and I assume they're talking about the refs because you could just hear Darko saying it's so terrible, and Dennis nodding, and Darko got teed up. He was really pissed. I did feel like the whistle was really unbalanced in the first half. I feel like it evened out in the second half. The Raptors got a lot of calls down the stretch that they just missed, like layups through contact. And as someone brought up, like Scotty felt like the only one consistently, and even he missed a few, but like he was kind of consistently hitting those shots, whereas like everybody else, it was just bouncing off. And yeah, they need the Noah software update for sure. Precious was a bit better in this game, like better energy, had a couple nice finishes, but I feel like him, Siakam, and Scotty in the first half were just kind of like missing on alley-oops and like mistiming passes, and it was just kind of the whole team was just like kind of out of sorts. And then I felt like Dennis wasn't making great passes, and then he made a couple really good passes. He made one really crazy pass like in the beginning of the game. He always plays really good like right at the beginning of the game, and then kind of evens out a little bit. But again, I thought like Scotty and Jakob's passing in the fourth quarter was really kind of the only effective kind of ball distribution stuff happening. Otherwise, it's just ugly, and just this game reminded me. So I'm a big Sonics fan. So this game was like the anti Peyton Kemp. This is like the anti Lobs. Just missing so many missed connections and missed and one opportunities. Really just killed any like momentum that she was a nice change. Yeah, Laura Dykin. Yeah, like it felt like she had been doing it for like she's better than Brad Fay. Brad Fay. Maybe you're listening. But yeah, I'm trying to imagine like Brad Fay, Kate Biernes, and like if they had to do a show together, that would just be like I don't know. I like how intense Lewinberg is like before the games. Like he just has like some of like the nothingest story ever, like what the materials of the chain are made of. And he's just doing the like Sunny in Philadelphia, if I've seen that show of Mac when they're like doing the TV, when they're doing like the investigative reporting. And it's just like, it's like he's doing like a murder, like a serial killer has just been brought in, but it's like what the Raptors chain is made of. I always get such a kick out of that. He's just like, I mean, I guess he really likes the stories, but he gets like really into it. I guess it's better than apathy. So I always just find it like funny though. Does anybody else notice that? Just how into his little scoops he gets? But By the way, I don't know who's getting the chain tonight. I guess it's going to be Scotty, but I wonder, like, in that would, like, after a loss like this, when they give the chain out, is there just kind of like, is there a thing where they give it out? I wonder, or they just kind of like tick a box of like, oh yeah, we're gonna give it, or do they make a big thing of it? Man, probably make a big thing of it. Probably keep it consistent. Try to keep balance. Alana B, what do you think of Siakam not coming back in when we were got the lead down to 14? Yeah, kind of weird. Um, it wasn't like he was 4 for 9, which he wasn't very aggressive in that on that front. Um, I didn't think he was like horrible. Like he wasn't. It wasn't one of those games where he was like 2 for 15 and was just like killing the offense. He only took 9 shots in 29 minutes. That honestly, I don't really know. I think that's kind of weird. Um, I don't. I'm interested to see. I don't usually watch post game preferences. I probably should, but like I was kind of wondering that myself. And they did some shots of Pascal kind of close up, and he looked kind of like he did when he got charged with the travel with like 5 seconds left or 5 seconds into the game, where he's just like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? He kind of had that look on his face on the bench of he didn't really even know. And yeah, it was kind of strange. But yeah, I don't know. Rig Papa, Siakam is aiming his shot. He's not shooting it freely. I mean, you always have to aim your shot, but I'm trying to. I mean, I think I know what you mean, but like, for me, when he shoots threes, I've talked about this before, but it almost is like there's so much extension. Like he just like it's so kind of extreme, and he's already so tall. It seems kind of unnecessary. I don't know, and I feel like a lot of his shots are long. Like most guys, when they miss threes, are short, but so many of them seem to be long, and it's like he's almost like it looks like he's extending like too much. Will has brought up how he has a hitch on his free throw, which he definitely does. But yeah, his shot is a bit messy, I guess. Like it's not the cleanest thing in the world, I don't think. But it's still weird to me that he wasn't brought in when you really needed like anything you could kind of scrounge doing a fake comeback. What I wouldn't give for a Malik. Yeah, I mean that's what kind of Grady is. I guess Malik's smaller, but just a two guard that can really shoot like that. That's kind of what the dream is. But yeah, the Raptors haven't really had that in a long time. And as a small person myself, I do like watching players that, guards that can shoot threes. That's like, I'm a Blazers fan just because of geography and watching Dame for a bunch of years. Like that's an enjoyable form of basketball, and 9 for 33 is not. And I think a lot of people in the fan base like feel that way, but the front office, their whole thing is like you can teach shooting, but you can't teach height. So I don't know what evidence they've presented with that, but that's the line. That's the party line. So, you're in the middle of the street. Yes. Again, I could be hit by a truck at any point, which after this game would be good. Kind of a Christmassy vibe a little bit. I didn't want to go too aggressive on the Christmas, but like a little bit of a Christmas vibe. I'm going to watch Home Alone 2 soon. It's my favorite Christmas movie. I don't know anything about Home Alone 1. Giant of the North. Is someone else running the team? How do they justify a first for a center who can't shoot anywhere? Yeah, I'm thinking of making tutorials. Like I did a little Scotty footwork thing on Twitter as like a little whatever, but I was thinking of making like YouTube tutorials on funny stuff. And one of them is like how to shoot a free throw like Jakob Hurtle. And it's just going to be like shot putting med balls at the back of the rim as hard as I can and making it funny because yeah, his shot is just ugly as shit, man. Like it's fucking ugly. I mean, his nickname is Big Ugly. His shot is fucking ugly. It's so shot putty. It's so just like it's like he's just like he has like a tray of food or something and he's just like flicking it at the, like it's not aesthetically pleasing. I thought he was pretty good during like the comeback though, but yeah, just his shot in general is it's pretty rough. And it's kind of not where, I don't know. I just feel like that type of like NBA thing is not, that's not like on the up and up in the NBA, like people who can't shoot. That's just not really like the direction the NBA is heading in. I know the Raptors want to be like against the grain. You know, everything's got to be against the grain. So while everybody else is valuing shooting, we'll value height. And the result of that is the 30th best half court offense in the NBA, I think, for the second year in a row, or at least they were like bottom three, I think, last year. So in half court, not in total. Because transition is only like, okay, you're the number one transition team, the number two transition team. It's like, that's like 14, 15% of possessions. Like, you can't live on that. That's like your tips that's, I guess now tips as a, not as a waitress or a waiter, but that's like tips as like a dishwasher, you know, because they don't get as much. That's a better analogy. Angelo, has anyone looked into whether China is interfering with the Raptors? I don't know. My only intel with China is I was in the airport there, and it took me like 3 hours to realize why I couldn't use my Google Drive, which had all my documents that I needed for. I was like, all right, well, I got this fucking layover. I got a Starbucks. Wow, there's holes in the money. And then I saw a flight to Pyongyang, North Korea, and I'd be like, that would be a funny bit. So that's my only intel on China. Other than that, I don't know anything. Alana B, I hope Scotty is okay. Yeah, again, he always seems to, every game he seems to have like a weird injury thing where he looks like he's, you know, like giving birth. So, oh yeah, definitely hope he's okay. Does anybody have any info on that from the post game? I did go for Pale Fox. I went for Chinese food before the game. There might be something to this. I like Chinese food, but it's not my favorite cuisine. It's a bit salty, you know. Prefer, like, I guess Vietnamese is pretty salty too, but I feel like we might just start talking about cuisines at some point. I made a cuisine tier, but I didn't share it because I thought people would get really mad. But I think I like Vietnamese cuisine more than Chinese cuisine. Unsubscribe if that's traumatizing. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Rumors Curry Bro. Sure. I've seen Die Hard, but like I can't really remember too much from it. But yes, I know. I'm pretty sure it is. So is Office Space. OG3. I'm glad Grady took some aggressive shots at the rim, even though he didn't score well. Yeah, he's that's one thing where it's like, you know, if you kind of compare it to Malachi, where it took Malachi like 4 seasons or something to kind of look like confident and be confident. At least, you know, Grady has that already. So that's, you know, the Raptors say you can't teach height. I think that's another thing that's pretty hard to teach and takes a long ass time. So it's good that he has that already. Bring it on 15. Fire Darko. Jama Malale is a more competent and great coach. How do you know? OG3. That's valid. I'll take Japanese over Chinese too. Yeah, Japanese cuisine is like pretty much on the like top tier for me with like Lebanese and Mexican. Those are like my 3. Sorry, everybody. Jack was wild in tonight. Yeah, I thought Jack was, for the most part, pretty good. Like sometimes he gets on weird rants, but like he was pretty good. I liked his. I wish they could go into like his referee story. I wish there was an 18 plus broadcast or like a 14 plus broadcast or something. I think that's going to be the future with like the CBA. Got to get, or like a broadcast for people that spend time online who already know about what the courtside reporter is talking about. That's the future, I think. Chinese barbecue pork is my go-to. Yeah, so I don't eat meat either. So, sorry, everybody. What do you guys think about music beds under breakdowns? So the halftime show where they've got the circle, they got the red, they got Damian Lillard, and he's got a green circle under him. They got two guys, and they got red circles under him, and it's like, and it's just like, what do you guys think? Do you like the music? Do you like the aggressive music under that, or when they do Inside the NBA and Kenny's up the board and he's talking like really, really stuff that's like pretty fascinating. I think like breaking down X's and O's, and you've just got the like, and it's like, okay. I was just thinking like, what if I just started doing that on my breakdown stuff? Just had like an aggressive like 9 Inch Nails track over me talking about two guys shooting or two guys standing in the corner taking a three. 18 plus broadcasts where you can hear the players talk shit. Yeah, that's like the dream. I don't think that would ever happen though. Like there would be that's like something the players union would like step in on if there was ever any like microphone stuff. But like that's something that as a viewer I would appreciate like going on strike for that. Like if whoever was on, like if they had to do a lockout to get that, I would do it. If we had to lose half a season, but the result was we get like mic'd up the entire game and had audio for that, I would totally do that. If I'm the owner, if any NBA owner is listening to this right now, please put a motion that in the next CBA agreement that there will be like a strike, because think about how good that would be for the broadcast. I mean, the players would obviously hate it, but that's why you go on strike. Timber, they should play some Barry White. Who? I've already lost my train of thought. Man, I to be honest, I don't know how much juice I have. The Raptors did not have a lot of juice tonight. I'm kind of out of juice. Like I think that's kind of my notes, to be honest. Like that was, I mean, it was a fake comeback. Like Boucher hits it at 1:30 at 1:34 in the third quarter. Boucher hits the three to cut the deficit to the Chris Paul meme basically. The Raptors do go on an 11-0 run with Malachi, McDaniels, Boucher, Jakob, and Scotty, I think. So that looked good, but they just don't seem to give a fuck in like the second quarter. Again, somebody look up the plus minus in the second quarter for the season. It's got to be like the lowest in the league. They just seem to second half of the first. I'm starting to repeat myself now. I think they're going to shut down pretty quick. I did the Seattle serial killer joke. Laura Dykin was the star for me. She and Scotty Barnes were like the bright spots. I mean, Kia's always good. She does really good breakdowns. They were in Colombia and they won, and they were in Medellin. Actually, I saw that on the court. I don't know if anybody noticed that. One of the hats I wear regularly on the broadcast I got in Medellin. So it's a very cool city. So I would like to ask her about her experiences there, but she was good on the broadcast. Leo's good in his role, I think. That was the only good part, I think. Or that was like one of the highlights, because I mean the Bucks, what did the Bucks do? Let's look at the Bucks. Bobby Portis, 7 for 11. He was really aggressive off the bench. He's always like a 6-man cat. Has he won 6-man, Bobby? I feel like he's always like top 3 voting. And Raptor legend campaign, 3 for 4 from 3. He's got the lefty 3, 4 for 8, 13 points. He would look good on the Raptors bench, but I didn't know who this Jackson Jr. was. I was like, oh, there's a Jackson Jr. starting, but he took 1 shot in 17 minutes. That's kind of funny. But yeah, Dame 4 for 10 from 3, Malik Beasley 8 for 11. So they go 12 for 21 from 3. Bucks go 20 for 39 from 3, 51%. So when you make 11 more threes, 33 points. Usually when you get 33 more points off of threes than the other team, you usually win. I don't know what the stat is on that, but I thought Grady Dick's free throws were really nice. I wrote that down. 6 for 6 from the free throw line. His free throws really nice, but he was a -31 tonight, so it's not ideal. Again, the starters, minus 21, minus 24, minus 17, minus 29, minus 31. The only pluses came off the bench, which Thad, garbage time, +2. Chris was +6. McDaniels +19, which is kind of wild. Garrett Temple +2. That's garbage time. Malachi +4. Shouts to Marquise Noel +4. You know, hit 2 free throws there. You love to see it. Malachi only 1 free throw tonight in 27 minutes. So that's kind of, but yeah, he 3 for 11 and 0 for 8 from 3. So only took 3 twos tonight. So wasn't really attacking the rim. I mean, you do have Brook Lopez in this game who played 33 minutes and got 7 blocks for Brook Lopez. Holy shit. That's a lot. It's a lot of fucking blocks. Damn. He had 7. Dude, Brook Lopez had 10. This is like a cool stat line. Brook Lopez, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 7 blocks. It's pretty good. Dame had 13 assists. Probably a lot of those to Beasley. And went 15 for 16 from the free throw line. Damn. But now I'm just reading the box score. That's when you know it's time. It's winding. The vibes are winding. The clock is winding down. TZ says good to go. W stream. Thank you, Devin Smith. Will the gold vibes help us Friday? Oh yeah, they got the in-season tournament Friday. I'm interested to see. So what jersey? So they're gonna be gold jerseys on a black court. The only thing I worry about is like, I hope they're like bright-ish, because if they're that dark gold on a black floor, that, I don't know, I feel like that might not pop that well. Like something like a white jersey would look really cool on a black court. Blah, 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 blah. Black court. I don't know if it's gonna pop like that. I'm not a big fan of the black and gold, but that doesn't matter. I'm one of the weird people that likes the courts. I know a lot of people are complaining about it on podcasts and stuff. I wouldn't want it full time, but that is one aspect of it I do actually like. And I like the crazy shit. I like the Portland one. It was just red. The Phoenix one, even though it wasn't really their colors, it was like a Pop-Tart. Like, I like that. Like, it's just fucking crazy. I like it. Just, you know, once in a while, it is kind of cool to check out just how insane it is. I like it. Viv Bhavani interviews are unwatchable. Nice guy, but from Vegan Grass. Who is Viv? That name sounds familiar. Vin Bhavani, but I don't know who that is. Didn't know who AJ Green was. Looked like a 2K auto player. Gray court. I think it's black, isn't it? It looked like when they released the black court. It reminded me of the Scotiabank debit card, just like the black and gold Scotiabank debit card. Like when you make the court thumbnail size, it just looks like a debit card. But any last words in the chat? Again, the Raps, they should have chains on the rim for the in-season tournament. Could have had chains on the rim. Looked like there's chains on the rim tonight. Oh, chains! Like, oh, I get it. No, I like that. I love the sound of a chain. Again, if I'm like shooting, I don't want that to be my main court, but like that is a great sound. That's a good idea actually. But they would probably make some case about it's too dangerous. Players are gonna like cut their hands if they hit it. But yeah, a chain court would be. They could use different balls too, especially NBA. If anybody from the NBA is listening, when the Raptors do their black court, how about a white ball? That would be sweet. Like that would really pop on a black court. Stuff like that could be cool. Like a bright white ball on like a black court, like a hex color HOOOO and FFFF. Like I think that's what it. Yeah. Tell me if I got the hex colors right. Robert Reiger. I'm losing my joy with this team. So for me, like I don't really relate to that at all. Like sports are like an escape. That would suck to like be. I grew up a Canucks fan, and a Vancouver Grizzlies fan, so I've always just been kind of used to losing, so I don't really care anymore. But that would suck to have your joy outsourced to an external, because you can't control what the Raptors do. So That is a bad position to be in if you're not kind of in control of your own happiness. Therapy hour. I think that's going to be it. So, Ann Veal Award, gonna give it to Thad again. Tony Wonder Award, give it to Scotty, and I think that's gonna fucking do it.